Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. We are coming to you from Nashville at the Restaurant Transformation Festival, Restaurant 365. They do an incredible job putting together an event with over 500 business leaders, restaurateurs from all over the country. And our job is to bring you inside. If you can't make it to the event, we want to bring you inside to let you know what's going on. I have Anand, the co-founder and CEO of TryLoop.ai. And TryLoop.ai, you are a partner in the Restaurant 365 ecosystem. Tell our audience, what is TryLoop.ai?
Absolutely, Shawn. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at this amazing, intimate event. It's a lot of people, but it's great to be together, sitting down, talking about the industry. So, super quick rundown on Loop. We help optimize third-party delivery, and we take care of financials and operations in a way where restaurants start not just thinking about profitability on delivery, but starting to grow it and make more money off it.
That's amazing. And how long has TryLoop.ai been around?
We've been around for 2.5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how large is the company? How many employees?
We are about 40, 50 big now.
Already?
Yeah.
That's
we've
quick
grown.
growth.
Yeah, we serve about 7,000 restaurants across the country.
Tell me about the first restaurants that onboarded.
It's a fun story that started at a restaurant conference.
Okay.
Coincidentally, and it was at Food on Demand.
Okay.
And me and my co-founder Sundar, both of us were engineers at Uber.
Really?
Yes. And we just experienced the hyper growth with delivery, so much so that engineers threw everything away and sat down onboarding restaurants. That was a surge in both consumer demand as well as restaurants coming onto delivery. And I'm a restaurateur myself.
Really?
Yeah. Have a couple of locations.
Come on. Right
restaurants.
now?
Yeah.
Open?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Come on.
Yeah.
How many where are they?
They're in Hyderabad, India.
Really?
Yes.
Very cool. What do you serve?
It's South Indian vegetarian food.
Okay.
It's premium meals. It's a classic food entrepreneur's dream of, hey, I love my grandma's recipe, and I want it to be commercialized and be around for the next generation. And we just started it about 5-6 years ago. We have 10,000 plus ratings on Swiggy and Zomato, which are the DoorDash and Uber Eats of India. And we've been doing well. And
how big is the restaurant?
It's very small. It's a side project.
Yep.
We have no big ambitions for it. It's just it's one of those things where
it's a test kitchen.
Yes,
but it's a real life test kitchen.
It's a real life test kitchen, and it's one
real
of those
stakes.
Exactly. And once you're in the world of restaurants, once you are addicted to the drug of customer delight, you can't really pull back. So we started it back in 2017 or 18 with a lot of our friends telling us that it's a cash set on fire. It's like, why would you start a restaurant?
Yeah.
It's the worst business to be in. And 6 months later, we were actually making money.
Yeah.
And today, our total investment in software is $0.
Wow.
So we just have the first hire we made actually was a data guy who just sat down, did Excel sheets of everything from pricing all the way to procurement. And we just ran a first principled operation around making the restaurant in tune with consumer demand and consumer preferences. And that sort of goes hand in hand with the growth in delivery. It's not coincidental that the game's moved away from sort of an offline, rather slow process of acquiring consumers into, you can just get 100,000 footfalls on day one.
Yes.
Quite literally into your digital doors. So, started that, and then we saw everything that was happening in Uber, and going back to your question of how we acquired our first customer, we built something out because we were just so excited with all of the data that's available from third-party delivery.
Yes.
We just built something out, and we literally flipped our laptops open, stood at the doors of Food on Demand at the Food on Demand conference, and somebody was there. There were lots of people that were super kind enough to actually stop by and give us feedback. And and
Did you have a booth?
We did not have a booth.
You didn't have a booth.
We just walked into the conference and we just opened our laptops and stopped people to tell us what we were doing right or wrong.
Yeah.
And that's when we acquired our first customer. Shout out to our friend Ray at the On-Demand company. So they had about 1,000 locations across the country back then, running virtual brands. And he looked at the software and he said, "Hey, listen, this is a serious problem for us. If you can help come fix this, I'll pay you good money." And we were in business on day one, built for enterprise right from day one. So we spent the next 6 months just building the software. And believe it or not, for virtual brands, they have a very serious reconciliation problem. They need to understand how the cash flows are coming in from third-party delivery so that they can pay their owners out the right way.
Yes.
And that's the problem we solved, spending 6 months. And today it's work in progress because finances from delivery providers are complex to manage. And we reduce their payout cycles from months to just a week.
Wow.
By automating a significant part of their delivery finances away. And we continue to do that outside of virtual brands with large operations like Freddy's, Dave's Hot Chicken, Mobetas. Pick a large brand, we're probably there.
That's incredible. When did you first learn about Restaurant 365?
We learned very early on, probably right around the conference, about a vertical software, a vertical accounting and operations software that was there to serve restaurants exclusively. And it just made a lot of sense because, Shawn, let's be honest, you don't run into accountants or even restaurant CFOs who dabble in restaurants. They're all in or they don't have any of it, right? It's a very unique industry. It has its own very unique problems with its own unique tech stack that's really different from the rest of the technology ecosystem, different from the rest of the economy. And actually, in the US, the franchisee system, for instance, is so complex and it's a growth driver, but at the same time, it's very unique. And that means an accountant or a software that serves restaurant has to be custom built for restaurants. And that's what Restaurant 365 is about. And we learned about it early on, and it was always an aspiration for us to work closely in the ecosystem and make sure that restaurants are getting not just the point of sale, not just the operations for on-premise, but also the digital ordering set up in a way where they can actually exercise growth levers, profitability levers effectively.
Can you share why is it important for Loop to be here at an event like this? Like you said, this is a very intimate event, but the people and the quality of leaders that are in these walls, I sit down at lunch and I'm humbled very quickly when the woman sitting next to me has 500 restaurants and the other guy comes and goes, "I only have 10 restaurants." I'm like, "Well, I've got 3."
I know, Shawn. I was actually talking to one of those phenomenal leaders, and the interesting thing about this setting is that the conversations are not high level.
Yes.
They get real nuanced real fast.
Correct.
And I was lost in conversation, and I was 10 minutes late to a lunch with Tony. So that
Tony,
was
the CEO. Of
the
Restaurant
CEO and the
365.
co-founder. So it was embarrassing, but in a good way because I had a good excuse that I was having this conversation about somebody who was lost in variance tracking for third-party delivery revenue, and I was just explaining how we can automate it. But anyway, so. For us, being here is a no-brainer because we've been, our really good partner manager, Dave Downs, huge shout out to him, and Pinar, we got in touch with them late last year and they told us about the event, and it was a no-brainer because coming together in this setting, not just with prospects and customers of Restaurant 365, not just mutual customers, but also the team, the crew at Restaurant 365 that's making all of this happen.
Yes.
For us to be here, socialize what we do, understand their own pain points, and help them actually tap into the future, which is AI, and help them understand how we are positioned. That's a dream come true for us. So for us, these 2.5 days is just about sitting down and getting the word out, telling them what we do, at the end of the day, solving for a pain point that's very real, very acute for them today.
If you can talk to the restaurant leader that's listening to this show and let them know specifically today, whenever they hear this, whether they're watching, whether they're listening, what do they need to know about artificial intelligence today?
We are living in a world where the number of CFOs, the number of CPAs that are made for restaurants are skewing, frankly, older. Estimates are that we're going to have 1/4 the number of accountants and finance leaders that we'll have over the next decade as we have today.
Wow.
And it's a scary future to live in, that we have lesser people managing finances, but it's also a high leverage job. We are going more and more moving into a future where it's a one-man CFO, it's one controller, it's one VP of finance that's managing a lot of what you might think of as critical but not core for the restaurant in terms of managing the finances and getting ahead of their profitability, of their cash flow needs. So for us, as we think about the future with respect to AI, it's not doom and gloom. It's actually a future where you can do more with less, and you can actually do things that were humanly impossible to do. You can actually sit down and, let's say, do an LTO analysis, or you can actually understand what's causing variances. You can actually close books maybe every day. You can actually reduce your tax liability without having to employ, $20,000-$30,000 tax consultants coming in and helping you sort of figure out what might otherwise be common knowledge. And I think we're moving into a very exciting future, because not only is AI automating away a lot of the grunt work, it's democratizing otherwise unknown sort of facts. I'll give you an example, Shawn. So I had a conversation with somebody today who was talking about sort of the food costs that they were dealing with, and how that counterpositions against a buy one get one offer on marketing. And one of the big questions that I'm sure you as a restaurateur run into is like, hey, I want to acquire new customers. I want the word out to be there, word to be out there, but at the same time I don't want to do it in a way that I'm losing money. And that fundamentally leads you to a place where you're starting to look at your menu pricing, your cost, of the items that you're selling, the expected increase in demand from marketing. Managing all of these things, just the analysis paralysis of it, scares so many people that they just throw everything out. They throw the baby out with the bathwater. So it's one of two things. One, they're like, I don't want to even get into this world. Or, screw it, I'm just going to do it. I might be losing money. And 3 months, 6 months later, it bites their back. They learn about it, and now they have the sticker shock of not getting into it again. So I think there is a very healthy medium here where they're like actually looking at their finances on a real-time basis, understanding the categorical breakdowns of not just the income statement as it relates to third party, but understanding how the cash flow is with respect to different categories and items on the menu, and honestly use the data that's available to them in a way that they can actually grow profitably.
Do you enjoy building restaurants or building technology more?
It's a tough call, Shawn. I'll be honest. I think I have a good fallback because, I was joking with somebody yesterday, which is, hey, if the restaurant technology play doesn't work out, I'm going to be happy running the restaurant myself, because it's truly a labor of love, to send food out every day and have so many customers be delighted. So for me, it's truly either or. But honestly, I think we are at 7,000 restaurants today, and for us to be able to have that kind of an impact and indirectly serve the customers and move this entire industry forward, especially as we prepare towards a world of 40, 50, 60% digital delivery over the upcoming decade, for us, this is a massive challenge and a great opportunity.
Over the next decade, what was it?
So currently, if you look at sort of the restaurant revenue, we are at about $1 trillion.
Okay.
We crossed $1 trillion mark.
Global?
Just in the US.
Just in the US.
Just in the US. It's 1 trillion. It's not a billion. It's not a million. It's $1 trillion. And I think a good way to think about how big these numbers are.
That's delivery or food delivery?
That's food in general.
Food in general.
Food in general.
Does that include Amazon food that's
No.
getting delivered? Walmart food that's getting delivered? Target food that's getting delivered?
Nope.
Instacart? That's just...
It's not grocery.
Not grocery.
It's food.
Literally restaurant
food.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not
amazing.
grocery. Yeah. It's just food. So it's basically, so the way that the reporting is done, it's food at home and food away from home.
Yep.
And this is food away from home, meaning you go outside and eat prepared food, cold or warm. So it includes catering, food halls, restaurants, airports, all of
Stadiums.
that, stadiums, everything there, but it doesn't include groceries.
Okay.
Because you have to get groceries home and make food at home. That's a different category. The interesting thing is that we just tipped over for food away from home being more than food at home.
Wow.
So, and it's not a COVID phenomena. It's not just a short-term thing. It's a long-term trend of people. I mean, Shawn, let's be real. We are not, over the next decade, if we were to bet on, are we going to be making more food at home in the kitchen versus people are going to be eating outside?
Of course.
It's an obvious bet.
No. It's the same with mobile.
Exactly.
Are we going to be on laptops more, or are we going to be on
mobile more?
Like, we know where that's going.
Exactly.
But we still fight it.
Exactly. And the sooner we embrace it,
yes,
the better we can make of the opportunity. So, coming back to the premise around, hey, the digital and delivery growth is what's going to propel not just a bigger share of this $1 trillion in food away from home.
Yeah.
It's actually going to grow the pie. People are going to eat less and less at home and away. And food away from home is not necessarily unhealthy or expensive. There's all kinds of amazing concepts that are coming out that are doing healthy, affordable, tasty food. And that's just going to grow and, become tremendously big. A favorite of mine here is, speaking of growth from digital and delivery, take the example of Dave's Hot Chicken, right? So they have a 40% digital mix, and that's a significant part of their overall AUVs, and that's a significant part of their growth lever. As I think of growing from 200 restaurants today into 800, a significant part of that is coming from people sitting on their mobile phones and ordering. So for us,
and that's just traditional ordering. Like in our sense, traditional Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub. That's not even thinking of like when TikTok has it integrated, and Instagram and YouTube, and you can order, like all of that's coming. And if people don't think it's coming, they need to understand that it will be here. It's already here.
It's already here.
It's already here. TikTok Shop is here. Amazon Shop is here. All of those things are all integrated.
Absolutely. And the food shops are getting deeply integrated. For instance, I think Dave's Hot Chicken talks a lot about how they have a store inside a game.
Yes.
The Roblox universe and other gaming universes where you can actually, while playing the game, you can stop by at a store and just order food, and the food gets delivered to your home.
So if people want to learn more about what you guys do, what's the best way for them to connect?
Just come to our website. It's tryloop.ai. Register for a demo. You can hit me up at Anand at tryloop.ai too. I'd be happy to show you what the future looks like.
That's amazing. Are you on LinkedIn as well?
I am on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. It's Anand at Loop, and you'll find me on LinkedIn as well.
Perfect. And if you guys want to reach out to me, it's at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. That's Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Threads, all the platforms. I'm weirdly available. Restaurant 365, they do these events all over the country. Find out where the next one is. The next one's coming up in Florida. But Restaurant 365, we appreciate you guys for hosting us, for bringing us incredible people that are shaping the future of our industry. And as always, stay curious, get involved. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Catch you guys next week.